We're going to start with the ladder, and it's the 2023 grand finalists, Collingwood and Brisbane, Joey, who are back at the top of the standings.
Yeah, it is. Well, it looks very familiar, doesn't it? It's the same teams that we see most years. Collingwood, Brisbane, Geelong, Hawthorn, although the Cats had a loss today, and we'll get into that in a moment. But, you know, not a lot has changed, to be fair, in recent weeks. It's still pretty consistent. The Western Bulldogs, obviously, were the big winners that have made some progress, and the Saints have been the ones that have been sliding in recent weeks.
A couple on the outside looking in that you would think would mount some sort of challenge, Joey?
Yes, we'll get into one of them at the moment. But you think it's down to 11, I think, are still 11. The contenders. If you want to include Port Adelaide, no doubt Fremantle have shown that what their best footy is, but I think there's a bit of a long tail this year from what we've seen.
Well, the Bulldogs are the big story this weekend, and we'll get to them in a second. But West Coast still haven't won a game. Do you think they'll get through the season on zero? Do you think they can?
No, they'll definitely win a game.
Okay, well, let's start with... You're not sure?
They'll definitely win a game.
Joey that question.
They'll definitely win a game.
There's some facial expressions there. Yeah. Joey, it's time for your first crack. Yes,
my first crack. This one's for the Blues fans, but the Blues are back, baby. That was a good performance today. I think that for the first time this season, they are finals bound from what we have seen. I think they look like a completely different team to this team we saw in the first month of the year. And I'm a believer. And I think it was before the Collingwood game. I actually was on First Crack Preview, and I mounted a case why they'd beat Collingwood because of the profile that they had going into that game, particularly defensively and contest-wise. And it was just the offence that had to click. Now, it didn't quite click that night, but it was coming. And then they had a couple of easy kills, so we really wanted to see them against a good opposition. But from what we saw today and the balance of their team, so the feel of it, so just having Harry and Charlie in good form, the small forwards now, having a smaller forward line and what it has done for their forward pressure and their ability to turn the ball over, playing Sam Walsh more on the outside, a bit more wing, rather than sort of trying to win first possession on the inside. Their defenders, like Nick Haynes, my gosh, what about the turnaround in his form over the last few weeks? And, you know, Mitch McGovern used the ball much better. Silvani's been excellent, and the midfield are all playing really good footy, led by Hewitt, and Chera's doing his thing. So I'm a believer. I think that they are playing some strong football, and I expect them to be in the 8, you know, over the next month or 6 weeks, the way that they're rolling. And again, I think they should be eyeing off September action, like I expected at the start of the season.
It's been a big improvement for you, King.
Well, we've spoken a lot about... I feel like we talk a lot about Carlton, and I just feel that they've been one handball short for a while. And we did touch on that in the first 2 to 3 weeks of the year when everyone was doom and gloom on them. Look at the impact that their metres gained from clearance has, and it's all damaged by hand. It's working the ball from the inside to the outside. You can see there with those numbers. The average in wins, plus 790 on their opponent, metres gained from clearance. Today, they were flying. In that first 3 quarters, they were just unstoppable, particularly from clearance once they link and combine, and they just got smashed in the last quarter, and the whole game flipped. So this is them. So if you see the quarters 1 to 3 version, they are a serious team. Everything works when they fire these handballs because that's how they're built. Contest out. They're not Hollywood. They can't play the beautiful game. They've got to drag into the trenches and leave the trenches on their terms.
And get the runners coming past, which they're getting now. They had 11 scores from the back half today, which has been a concern for them all year. Their forward half pressure game, you highlighted it last week, the way they're getting after teams now. It looks completely different. And credit to Michael Voss, because he stuck fat. There were some of us that were starting to question his system and his style, and there are a lot of people making noise, but he backed it in. He believed in it. They just had to go to school on it, and it looks back to what we think and we expected from the Blues.
Does this happen every year with Vossi? I feel like this happens at some point in the year, every year. They're quick to pounce at Carlton.
Well, they're a big club and they're always a big story for sure. Now it's time for Health is Your Best Player, thanks to HBF Health Insurance. Now, you could not miss this story at the MCG today, and they were goosebump moments for Harry Mackay in that last quarter, because he's been a big story, and it's, you know, the question mark after taking some time away for his mental health and being given that time for the football club. How is he going to go in a big game against good opposition? How is he going to stand up under the pressure? Well, today, Harry Mackay absolutely delivered for his football club and repaid the faith. He had some massive moments, and when the game needed to be won with that clutch set shot in the last quarter, he absolutely put it through, and he stood strong under these high balls. So this is Harry Mackay at his absolute best. It has been, what a great grab. It's been a turbulent year, a dramatic year for Harry Mackay, but we saw the quality, and good on him and good on the club for backing him in, because that's the template.
So it stopped all the small ball discussion, right? It can't be Charlie in the smalls. It's not going to be that, because Harry took 5 contested marks and they were authoritative grubs, clunks, weren't they?
Yep.
And it was great to see. I think there's stories along the journey that bring you so much joy. And it was just good to see him. Good to see him out there for one, and then for him to do that, like you said, in that crunch moment, just ridiculous.
Health is crucial for the Blues, though. We've seen it in previous years, even last year, cost them. I think, even Elijah Hollands being back and the impact he has in Cottrell across the half-forward line. We've been waiting for them. Durden and Fogarty are coming along, and that's made a big difference. Unfortunately, Zach Williams injured again. Jay-Z looks like a calf injury, which is a shame for him. He just can't get his body right. But, no, there's a different feeling around this group now, and I expect this to continue to roll. Now, they're not going to win every week, but I think that this brand of footy is the way that's going to stack up.
I reckon Elijah Hollands is really important for this team. He's a difference maker. He sees different things. He moves the ball off the line more often than not. So he has the 25 disposals, 6 score involvements. He just looked comfortable out there.
A bit of composure.
They need that,
centre.
don't they?
Yeah.
They need a couple that have got a bit of clarity about them.
Yep.
And next year, hopefully they get Jagger Smith, who will be a point of difference for this side as well after that ACL injury.
Quarter time, 19 at half time, 28 at three-quarter time. And in the end, it was a 3-goal buffer. But Gary Light, those last 2 quarters, Geelong kicked the first 2 goals. They threw down the ultimate challenge and they responded.
And this man was at the forefront. He's had an outstanding year, Ruby Schleicher, and he was outstanding again today. The Giant has awakened for the season 2025. They are a big club. Their on-field results haven't reflected that in the last 30 years, obviously, given it's a 30-year reunion today of their last premiership. But I tell you, when they're up and going, there's not many supporter groups like it. It's a bit scary when you're out there amongst them. I tell you, they are as passionate as any. And it was great to hear George Hewitt speak about Harry Mackay-Brown. He's the number 2 rated player on the ground in the end. He just worked his way into it and worked his way into it. And in the end, it's not about kicking 8. It's about presenting up here on the centre wing and taking big contested marks just to take the sting out of any potential comeback.
Yeah, that's right. That's as important as his big goals in the third quarter and midway through the last quarter. So outstanding. That'll do wonders for his confidence and against a good opposition. So this is not a team down the bottom of the ladder. This is a contender. Yep. So that does wonders for all those individual players.
And I tell you, the Cats didn't lose any fans in all of this. I mean, they didn't play anywhere near as well as we know that they can. And at various stages, halfway through the second quarter, it gets out to 5 goals, and you can be forgiven for thinking, they played on Easter Monday, that's not their day, but that's just not in their DNA. They just keep coming, the Cats. They find a way. They're led by a bloke that doesn't know the meaning of not fronting up in Dangerfield. And
they hang in there, don't they?
They do. So they lose no fans, but I'll tell you what, the Blues have had a day out.